Today, we're going to talk about the 8 critical skills that are needed to take your business to the next level. So we're going to break them down. These are some things we've talked about before, maybe stuff you've heard, but it's important that we always go back to focusing on some of the basics that are ultimately the foundational steps towards long-term success. So these 8 things I have for you are things that I think all of us should be working on a consistent basis, things we should be putting through our brain. If you have any questions on any of this, go ahead and throw a comment here in the stream, and I'll try to catch them live. If not, I will come back and answer them afterwards. So with that said, in order to actually take your business to the next level, the first thing we need to do is define in detail what the next level means to you in terms of production, in terms of income, in terms of everything involved towards, the next level in your mind, and be very clear with what those are and always keep them in front of you. If you don't know exactly where you want to go, it's hard to build a plan to help you get there. The nice thing about real estate is that over a course of time, you can have very predictable results. And when you know your numbers, the time you're going to put in, the skills you're focusing on, all of these things can help you build a plan to help you actually reach the numbers and the next level that you're looking for. So the first thing I wrote down is we have to work on the skill of taking time to break unpredictable habits. All of us have things that we do throughout the day that are not income generating, they're not productive. They're oftentimes just things that we do to feel like we're busy, or things that we are avoiding, or whatever it may be. So it's really important that we take the time to look at these things, because we have a lot of time invested in these, right? So if we can eliminate these distractions that are keeping us from doing what we're supposed to do, if we could pay attention to the distractions that are getting us off track, and then every day just work a little bit at getting better around breaking these unproductive and unworthy of our time habits. So take the time and break those things down for you. Maybe make a list of 3 or 5 different things that you find yourself doing on a regular basis that are unproductive. And then build a plan around working to eliminate those from your day-to-day activities and from your business. The second thing I wrote down is the skill of dealing with the fear of the unknown. The skill of dealing with the fear of the unknown. A big part of long-term success is dealing with the fear of the unknown. It doesn't matter if you're going from 0 to 3 deals, or 3 deals to 15 deals, or 50 deals to 80 deals, wherever you're at in your business, there's always this fear of the unknown. What does the next level look like? What kind of steps do I need to take? What kind of challenges am I going to reach or hit? And a lot of times it's that fear that will cripple us and keep us from putting in the actions that we need to take in order to take our business to the next level. So same as point number 1, maybe take some time and write down the things that you're fearful for, and then reach out to somebody and ask them for guidance, ask them for support, ask them for some different ways to look at these fears that you have. Because the reality is everyone that you look up to, everyone that's been where you want to go at some point has felt some of the things that you're feeling. So if you can talk to these people, be real with the fears, wage war against them, and ultimately start to reprogram your perspective at the way you look at these things, everything will become easier. The interesting thing is, fear or anxiety or positiveness or, anything that you're feeling is directly related to the perspective that you're looking at these things through. So if we can pay attention to our perspective and do our best to work with other people, ourselves, and everything in between to reprogram and, change the lens or the perspective that we look through, it makes it a lot easier for us to deal with the things that are stopping us, deal with the fear, deal with the unknown. Number 3, the skill of not being concerned about what others are going to say. One of the biggest things that I see stopping agents when it comes to prospecting is the fear of what the people you're going to call are going to say, or the fear of marketing, wondering what your competition is going to say, or, anything in between. I think it was last week we were saying that if you're going to let someone else's response to what you're doing determine your future, then you've already lost the game. So it's really important for us to always check ourselves and make sure that, we're not being concerned about what others are going to say. Do things the right way, do things ethically, but do you, and keep going, and understand that, you're not doing anything right if people don't have something to say about it. The better you become, the more business you do, more people are going to notice, more people are going to have thoughts, more people are going to have words. And all of these things are important for us to be real with, so that we don't allow them to stop us from making and taking the steps that we need to take in order to grow our business. I wrote down underneath that when you're always concerned about their response, you can never change. When you're always worried about someone else's response, it makes it really hard for you to change the things that you need to change. So be real with how much time, emotional energy you're investing in caring about what other people think, what other people say, and everything in between. We need to always be checking that. Number 4, we have to develop the skill of building or developing blind faith in our business. It's really easy to say you're going to have blind faith. But if you really had blind faith, it would be a lot easier for you to stay in motion and make the calls even when you're not winning, right? You have to have blind faith that if I'm following a path that I know has proven to help other people get where I want to get, which is a lot of the things that we talk about on our Thursday classes. If I put in the right time, if I behind the right activities, the right expectations, the right actions, if all of these things are in place, then we have to have blind faith that eventually this is going to work for us. And it's that blind faith that will keep you in motion. It's that blind faith that when the drunk monkey comes up and says, oh no, let's just not do this, or oh, let's take the day off, or oh, this isn't working. It's the blind faith that keeps you going. Very similar to like if you look at farming a new neighborhood. If I'm going to start farming a new neighborhood, let's say it's 1,000 homes, I have to have blind faith that over the course of a year, I might start to penetrate people's attention. But if I'm expecting that after 2 mailings, I'm going to get leads, or I'm going to get listings or deals, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. So you have to know that everything takes longer, is harder, and costs more money than you wish it would when it comes towards growing your business. So take the time to develop the blind faith around the things that you're doing, but it's important that you're developing blind faith around a plan that is proven, right? It's easy to have blind faith. Well, it's not easy to have blind faith in general, but having blind faith behind a broken plan is not the best idea, right? If I have blind faith and I'm just speeding up while I'm going downhill, I probably need to check myself, check my actions and my activities. So let's make sure that we're following the right plan. Let's make sure that we're putting the right information in our head, in between our ears, taking the right actions, and then practice the skill of having blind faith around these different things so that you can continue to stay in motion, eliminate the fear, put in the actions and the time that it takes to reach your goals. Number 5, the skill of developing patience. I kind of just touched on this, but it's always going to take longer than we want it to. And one of the hardest things to do is build the patience around the process of building our business. If it was easy, everybody would be a top producer. If it was easy, everybody would have everything that they wanted. The unfortunate reality is that it's not, and you're going to have the patience. You're going to have to put in the time and the consistency behind the right things in order to reach your goals. And a big part of that is falling in love with the boring parts of the business, right? It's the repetitious boredom that we talked about last week or the week before. You have to have patience around these activities. You have to have patience around, the amortization of your success. And the reality is all of us have a different amortization schedule when it comes to reaching our goals. For you, it might be, 6 months, a year of doing the right things the right way before you start to see the progress and the success. For someone else, it might be 2 months. For another person, it could be 18 months. But the reality is, if you just don't stop, you keep going, you have the patience, you focus on the right activities, you keep your mind in the right place. If you do all of these things consistently while keeping that patience, that positivity, and that grit alive, it almost becomes impossible to fail, right? Like you can't beat someone that never gives up. And never giving up is part mindset, part patience, grit, all of these things. So let's keep that in mind as we're going through our business and we're going through the actions that we need to take day to day in order to grow our business. Number 6, the skill of controlling our emotions, right? Really hard. It's easy to say, let's get better at that. But just like anything else, it's a habit, it's a skill. How can you control the emotions that you're feeling and be real with yourself? What triggers the emotions the fastest? So when you start to feel a certain way, when those emotions that stop you, slow you down, bother you, become present, pay attention to what's sparking those, what triggers those emotions. And that's the easiest way to work backwards and learn how to control those emotions. Ask yourself, where are you the happiest? Where are you the most comfortable? What do you do that triggers these negative feelings? Is it something you did the day before? Is it the inner dialogue and the chatter that's happening inside your brain? What is it that's triggering these emotions so that you can pay attention to them and then work on eliminating the things that trigger it, right? Like these emotions are never going to stop. It's natural to have an automatic negative thought. The two things that are important is paying attention to what triggers them so you can work on eliminating those things. And then 2, when those emotions come, allow yourself 1, 2, 3, 5 minutes to feel those feelings, and then start thinking about something positive. Start thinking about a prior experience. Start thinking about the last time that you won. It's almost impossible to be sad and grateful and happy at the same time. So when you're feeling a negative feeling, start thinking about something positive, something that brings joy to you. Something, it might be your last vacation. It might be the last deal that you got. It might be the last prospecting session. It might be that challenging file that you worked through. But think about a past positive experience and be grateful around that so that you can learn to control those emotions and slowly start to reduce the frequency in which they show up in your life. Number 7 is the skill for asking for help when you're having a difficult time. There's so much ego and pride around so many parts of everybody's business, right? Not just in real estate, that sometimes we don't allow ourselves to ask for help. And what I know about our community, the real estate, the agent community, is there's a lot of people that are willing to help. There's great groups like Real Closers, Lab Code Agents. You have a lot of support inside the company. You can reach out to Molly. You can reach out to myself. You can reach out to another agent in or out of the company that is, reaching the goals that you want to reach. For me, I'm always talking to people that are somewhere I want to be. And when I'm feeling a challenge, I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call them and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Can you work through this with me? And I'll call them and I'll just say, hey, I need some selfish Sam time. Like, can we talk about this? This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. Can you help me work through these thoughts? Or can you tell me how you would handle this? Because getting another person's perspective, one, can oftentimes give you motivation and positivity, but it can also help you look at things in a different perspective. If I'm feeling a certain way about something, just like before, we have to be real with the fact that a big part of my feeling is the perspective that I'm looking through. And oftentimes, asking other people for help and talking through these emotions with them will give you another perspective to look at. And that might just be enough to help you build the confidence and start to reprogram and change the perspective in which you're looking at things, the emotions, the challenges that you're dealing with. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone or send a message on Facebook or Instagram and just say, hey, I'm hitting a roadblock or I'm feeling this thing. Do you mind jumping on the phone and just chatting through it with me? I know that I'm happy to do it as well. And number 8, it's easy to say and it sounds simple, but it actually stops a lot of people. And that's accepting the fact, the skill to accept the fact that you can actually win and you can win big. You can have a lot of success. What happens is over the course of time, as we get older, the naiveness that we had, right? When I was younger, I thought I could walk on water. Everything I thought I could do was easier. And as you go through life and you get kicked around, you get kicked in the teeth, you get beat up, your naiveness, it starts to build like almost like a callus around it, right? It starts to build armor around it. And these things, these emotions, over the course of time, make it harder for you to actually believe that you can get to where you want to get to. The one thing that's going to be constant is pain and change and difficulty and emotion. Yes, you're going to have wins along the way, but learning to deal with the difficult times and still be real with the fact that you can win big is a big part of staying in motion and winning the game when it comes to taking your business to the next level. So I hope these things help. My suggestion to you is consider picking up some positive books. A great book that I'll give you 2 great book suggestions that I think will just help get your mind in the right place. One of them is Awaken the Giant Within from Anthony Robbins, one of my favorite mindset books, Awaken the Giant Within. And the second one is 3 Feet from Gold. It was written by our friend Greg Reed, who's presented at our events before and has done some lives in the group. It's the New Think and Grow Rich. The Napoleon Hill Foundation reached out to him probably now about 10 years ago, maybe even longer, and asked him to rewrite 3 Feet Think and Grow Rich. And he did that, and it's called 3 Feet from Gold. And the moral of the story is oftentimes we give up when we're just 3 feet from gold. And, you know, it starts the book with the story, and I'll finish with this, about a gold miner back, you know, during the gold rush that went out, bought the land, bought all the equipment, hired all the people after he had thought that he hit a vein. And so he starts digging, he pulls up some gold and can't find any and keeps going and looking everywhere. Eventually he gives up and he goes to a local worker in the area and says, hey, like, I'll sell you all the equipment, I'll sell you the land, I'll give you everything for pennies on the dollar, just get me out of this. And long story short, that guy ended up going and asking for advice, seeking counsel from people that have dug gold out of the ground. And what he learned is that gold runs in a vein. And the first guy went in one end and out the other. And if he would just go back to the original spot, move 3 feet over to the side, he'll go right back into the vein. And the story unfolds that was one of the biggest gold rush or, biggest success stories during the gold rush. All the gold that this guy was able to pull out of the ground, only because the person that gave up prior to him was just 3 feet away from going back and hitting that vein. So ask yourself, how many times have you given up when you're just 3 feet from gold? I know we all have. We all deal with it. So accepting the fact that you can win big, having a positive mindset, learning to fight fear, asking for help, all of these different things that we talked about today are all the components of continuing to move forward when you feel like you're stuck and you're about to give up just 3 feet from gold. So I hope that helps. If there's anything that I can do to support, please let me know. I would say just shoot me an email or give me a text, 858-518-1533. Hope you're all doing well. Love you all. Be safe, be productive, and stay happy. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye.